Hey guys, Th3 here and welcome back to a new Wargame video. Once again, ranked. Interestingly, the game keeps pitching me against privates or people with a very low rank. Well, I say that, but the battle after this one was against a major, which I sorely lost. Anyway, this is going to be a bit of a clumsy fight on both sides. It is Paddy Field, and because I was playing against a newer player, I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a bit more risk. Time to open with a couple of leopards. Does that work on this map? That was going to be the challenge. Is this feasible? On the left hand side, I'll be defending with a very small portion of forces, just a couple of the buildings, and that's why I put the defense markers there. But more importantly, the main offensive is going to be down the middle. Or rather, let's say the middle / right hand side of the map. I immediately, however, ran into a bit of a question mark on my part. Where exactly do I send my forces? Because you got the tree line down the middle, and I wasn't exactly sure where to go. Now, just before the start, I decided to change the loadout, or change the setup. Instead of a couple of Leopard 2A4s, I decided to go with a couple of Leopard 2A1s. The triple stack Leopard 2A4s would probably be utterly deadly, but it made so that I couldn't actually get any of the other forces that I wanted. So I decided to go with a bunch of leopards instead, but here comes the first clumsy thing. I relocate the CV. I didn't have to do that. The CV was perfectly fine where it was. So, stop the CV again and get everybody else moving. Air defense in this situation is being provided by 2 automatics, and they're going to be very useful later on in the game. Scout defender to see what is up ahead, as well as a couple of recon M41s. I changed the deck somewhat relative to the last time you saw it. This is the Lund deck, so that's Germany and Denmark. I changed out, for example, the the automatics 3 to 5, so I lowered their veterancy, so I have more of them. And this way I hope to provide more anti-helicopter / general fire support across the map. So, moving up, and I'm sort of seeing something down the road with the scout defender, but not very well. There it is. And now I lost it again because the scout defender hopped down. That road is going to be defended by the Leopard 1A5 as well as an M41 DK. So just an M41A1 recon tank. And I immediately spot a column of STRV 103Bs, Ds, Deltas, and LKV 90s, which are capable of taking out my recon. So the Leopards pushing forward, unfortunately, don't get a shot. Simply because the maneuver here was bad. The maneuver was bad because I could not see these things as they were heading up. They immediately take out the defending Leopard 1A5, which I should have pulled back, as well as the scout tank that I have. So they are pretty free to walk into my base. So time to bring these Leopard 2A1s back. If I can catch the STRV 103Ds as they're driving, I have the first shot. Because they first have to turn, they cannot fire on the move. All of these things are going to be potentially working to my favor. My mortars, however, don't really get a lot of support. They're basically roadkill at this point. Another mistake here. I call in another scout defender, and just look at how quickly these leopards start dying. Yes, I'm able to take out a fair amount of their column, but 2 of the Leopard 2A1s are dead. And there are still a few more tanks. As well as the recon tanks get killed off. There's STRV 105, there's even HEGMs being offloaded, but I think this is the majority of his column. I think this is the largest part of his force. Still, I have not taken out the LVKV-90. So I decided to do a rocket pod attack on it. This is a plane that I switched in from the last relative to the last time you saw this deck. And in the meanwhile, everywhere else I'm moving up. Without recon. Because, especially on the top right-hand side of the screen, you can see that the recon is still packed up in the transport. The mortars are roadkill. At least the Fennec is able to kill some stuff, but I'm not sure if the LVKV-90s are dead. Update, they're not. So immediately the scout defender gets killed off again. This was terrible. This was absolutely terrible. There's a column heading towards my base. It is a combined arms offensive. It's autocannons, it's tanks, it's anti-air. So, I have a bit of a problem. I don't really know how to counter this. I tried to bring in a Martyr, thinking a Martyr, Panzer Grenadier 90, the Martyr can potentially take out some stuff. The Panzer Grenadiers can definitely defend from that town. Yeah, it's not terribly, or it's not necessarily a terrible plan. But there is a bit of an issue. I need to make it to the town first. Fortunately, I can call another rocket pod plane. Not necessarily the right buy, but I'm able to take out some of the units. And this frees up the Panzer Grenadiers to move towards the town. And in the meanwhile, I'm still trying to fortify my position up front. Because I'm thinking that if this is his column, if this is his main push, and I've taken out most of it, I might in fact be able to start securing the rest of the map. And make sure that over time, I still win this fight. Now he calls in a Viggen, I think in response to my rocket pod planes. But just look at how close, there, how close that unit got to my command unit. That's the only command unit that I have on the map. So it is especially risky. I'm able to kill most of his forces there. There's the EPBV 3022. And I think it's the Panzer Grenadiers that finally get the kill on it. I still got a Viggen circling. Interestingly, I consider actually sending the F-100 in to kill the plane. Or at least do an attack against it with rocket... No, not with the rocket pods, but with air-to-air. That doesn't really work out. Just to be sure I don't get completely lost, I call another CV. Because I was not sure if I was going to be able to stop this STRV-105. If it would make it to my command vehicle, that would be it. So, again, a little clumsy, desperate here, trying to hold my base. And I noticed that these things can get a bit on my nerves. Like, this is a guy who has no rank. He's not a private. Why am I struggling against him? Then again, lately I've been reading a book by Ryan Holiday. I can recommend it. Stillness. It's about how to find more, let's say, peace of mind. And I'm seeing Wargame now more as an interesting training ground, really. To practice being calm in a stressful situation, rather than... oh god, I must win this, otherwise I'm a terrible wargamer. You need to play for the love of the game, not because this is something that you hang your self-worth on, as it is. Anyway, interestingly, there is a 32 Lanson coming in. That is a napalm bomber, and since I have absolutely no anti-air, he said, as he flew the Lanson right over the automatic, I decided to send in the F-100D, and the Viggen thinks, ooh, that's a nice snack, and immediately takes it down. Apparently, he can see my maneuver with the Dragonair. The Panzer Grenadiers are in a terrible condition, so they're not really able to maneuver. And I was trying to push him out of that town and hotel. The spare CV, bit risky, but I decided to put it in hotel to start ticking a +2. And decide to call in another automatic, because it seems that his entire strategy at the moment is to use a ton of aircraft. So if I can kill the air power, I might be able to come back into the match and start taking over more and more sectors. Now, with most of my Dragonair dead, I'm still trying to dislodge the RBS-56 in the town, and in the meanwhile I decide to start just moving up, because there might in fact not be a lot here. There's another Lanson coming in. And this time around, I decided to enable the automatic. I normally have them turned off in case of seed attacks, but currently no seed has been spotted, so very easily the automatic takes a couple of shots at it and takes it out. So, relocating the automatic, making sure that it's no longer in the position that it was, because I really do not want to lose an automatic. It's an expensive investment. In the meanwhile, let's try and get some more reconnaissance in. I just don't know where, so I decide to cancel it, and instead, yep, there they are. There are still more units in there. It's the RBS-56. So I cannot really move up my automatic anymore. Although it would be lovely fire support. But against the units over there, it would be a terrible match. The fact that I'm taking the building over there, I found very interesting. The buildings with the Milans close to the bridge means that he has absolutely nothing in that sector. This is where I go a little over the top with buying ATGM units. I call in a couple of Milan 1s, as well as a tow vehicle, and in the meanwhile doing a rocket pod attack on the RBS-56, and trying to get my Dragonair just to move over. Spider-Man have detected STRV-103s, and even a reconnaissance helicopter. There comes the 103, And time to get the Dragonair moving. I'm not sure if the building's clear. We're just going to have to check it out and see what is happening. In the meanwhile, he keeps reinforcing the groups in the middle. There's just a tank or two down there in the middle. A Panzerskite that's offloaded in the middle of nowhere. I was a bit confused. I didn't really see a coherent tactic at this point. I couldn't really figure out where he wanted to push. I'm not even sure if he knew where he wanted to push at this stage. But if I'm able to knock out his vision, I might be able to slow any kind of advance. So if I can take out the HKP-6 Alpha over there with the automatic, then that's going to buy me a little bit of time. It'll also be required to keep the Lift Garden alive, because they're under fire from the 103Ds. And of course, there are more transports coming down the road. So let's get the automatic to do what it does best, taking down helicopters. And kind of unintended side effect here, it enables, just at the moment when the STR F-9040s come in, taking out both of those in very quick time, and making sure that at least the Lift Garden don't have to worry about the autocannon fire. There come the ATGMs. There's even a Fennec coming in. I'm trying to bring in ATGMs all over when I have no vision. So, time to do something else as well. Slowly but steadily establish more of a presence in Bravo. And there are the tanks. The Fennec gets taken out by the Viggen. And since my automatic was, I think, moving and too far away, potentially even turned off, I couldn't really get it to fire at the Viggen as it was flying overhead. There's STR F-9040s coming in. That's not really what I wanted the Milan to encounter. Unfortunately, there's not really that much that I can do about it. So, time to call an MLU. MLU is a double role in this deck. It's both the ASF and the HGM plane, so potentially I'm taxing it too much. Also, an STRF is, an STRV is Stridswagen. It's not necessarily a huge target for an MLU, but so far, beyond the Viggen, I had not seen any threats to aerial units. The LVKV-90s were dead. They died early on in the push, so I thought, you know what, I might be able to get away with this. And here again, the lack of reconnaissance down in the middle comes into play. Because the Milans might have been able to kill the 103Ds, but I simply couldn't see them anymore. So, more reconnaissance. Always more reconnaissance. Again, I'm not quite sure what to buy. You can just see me going, I want this, I want that, no, I don't know. Let's go with a couple of flak panzers. M42A1s. To try and support the units over there. And there's the Viggen. I'm currently considering, do I want to really engage it? No, I don't really want to engage it. I want to try and kite it over the automatic. Of course, at that point, the Viggen is in range and does go after the MLU. The automatic, however, really doesn't get that much of an opportunity to shoot it. It was in range there briefly, but I couldn't kill it. And there comes a command tank. Why he pushes the command tank into Foxtrot, not Charlie, is completely beyond me. Maybe he's not sure about the position there? I really don't know. Because I don't have enough intelligence on Charlie. Nor am I really trying to get any intelligence at the moment, although I am trying to get more reconnaissance over to the right flank, just to see what's happening over there. Another oversight that I did in this game is that I had absolutely nothing defending the far right. Normally that industrial area, I at least put something in there, because you can get flanked. But this time around, nothing. Mistake. Scout Defender gets attacked and killed off by the Viggen, but I at least know that there is there's nothing that got a couple of shots at the Scout Defender, but it did get detected, so he has at least something over there. There's another recon helicopter. I think it's not the same, but he flies it almost directly into the automatic. Again, don't ask me why, but, well, if he's going to sacrifice a reconnaissance bird like that, who am I to object? Time to drop off the units in the forest. Again, too late. There could have very easily been some serious casualties as the units were moving towards the forest, or through the forest. But again, I just mess up. So if you are playing ranked, or if you're considering playing ranked, you can get away with all sorts of stupid mistakes. Especially when you're playing against me. This is still something that I really have to work on. And when I'm watching the other, let's say the elite players, I go, oh, these guys are so good. Nevertheless, I'm still having fun in ranked. I'm still having fun. So, he drops a napalm payload potentially on top of the Dragonair. I'm not sure what his plan was there. Because I don't think he knew exactly where I was in the forest. He may have seen the transports. So the Dragonair are safe, but one of my transports gets cooked. Well, I can afford to lose a transport. Unfortunately, the Spider get detected by the Panzerskite and promptly killed off. There's not that much that I can do to save them. They are in a very, very far forward position, and, well, if they go down, tough luck. So be it. Flak Panzers against a PBV 302 is not necessarily a great matchup, so I decided to pull them slightly farther into the forest, making sure to keep them safe. Now, what else can I call in? What would be handy here? The automatic. I don't need to call that in, I just need to tell it to go and do some useful stuff. And the Automalar 76 is a fantastic gun. I really love it. And, well, it's not necessarily an anti-air gun. It can do anything. At this point, I find a couple of Panzerskite, which immediately explains how he knew where my transports were when he tried to drop napalm on it. And the Flak Panzers are also engaging, trying to defeat the Panzerskite or at least suppress them. The F-100 gets called in. Mistake. I shouldn't have called that in. But fortunately it does survive. I was trying to do a rocket pod run against the Panzerskite there. I call in another automatic, because it seems that this guy's answer to everything is just call in another aircraft. It seems to be the only thing that he keeps doing. Bit of combined arms forces or combined arms offensive here. Lift guard and pushing forward, Flak Panzer suppressing, transport suppressing. And yet the Panzerskite have the defense from the building, so they're still there. I call on the Leopard 185 to be able to shoot down things as they come down the road, and hopefully be able to take out the building, or take over the building from the Panzerskite for myself. So that potentially later I'm able to take control of the sector there. And there are quite a few units coming in. Carl Gustav is a great weapon up close, so I'm able to take out the transports, but there are a lot of Panzerskite there. I push this Leopard 185 into position there to shoot anything else that comes down the right-hand side of the road. And then meanwhile, trying to get the Flak Panzers resupplied. Because these things are out of ammo, out of fuel, out of everything. So time to get them resupplied. I considered pushing into Charlie, but at the moment I don't really think it's worth it. Because I don't have the forces, I don't have the combined arms there to actually make that push. Instead, I decide to establish a bit more of a presence over here, in case that I want to push a CV in there as well. But as you can see, there are still a lot of open spaces. And I just, for the life of me, cannot get why he didn't push his CV into Charlie. But it did allow me to come back from being pushed almost all the way back into my base at the start of the battle. New automatic comes in. So now I have an automatic in Golf. I'm going to have one in Bravo. I'm also... Is it coming in yet? No. I'm going to call in another AA unit, because there are even more aircraft coming in. There's the 103, the command tank. I decide to call in the MLU to try and kill it, but it moves. And the Spider were not able to find it again. I capture another sector, and this allows me to get even more points ticking. Oh, sorry, no, that was not my capture. That was Foxtrot being recaptured by the enemy. My bad. So, circling around with the MLU, I'm kind of hoping that he detects the MLU, and that because he detects the MLU, he's going to send out his own air units, so his own fighters, which would promptly be received by the warm welcome from the automatics. But at the moment, he's not calling it in yet. Another HGM unit being called in. I just don't really know where to put it, so I go there, trying to shoot anything that comes across the open in Foxtrot. Liftguard 95 had taken a position in the building. You can see there are more tanks coming up there as well. Interesting choice. I personally wouldn't put STRV 103s over there. At least not the 103D, because they're pretty expensive. I'd probably go with the cheaper 103s. But he seems to try and keep me inside the forest, or at least that's my understanding as I see those tanks. And I'm still floating. I'm still floating quite a few points. There's more Panzerskeeten. Fortunately, the Dragonair engaged first. And then the transports arrived. But immediately the Panzerskeeten switch target and take out both the transports. In the meanwhile, though, the Dragonair are able to take out the Panzerskeeten entirely. Despite being extremely panicked. Another Leopard 185 coming in. And at this point I'm considering, do I really want to go on the offensive? No, I don't really have to. I just need to get a few more command vehicles, and I have the points for that. I already have another command vehicle on the move, so I might as well just keep ticking. Any offensive of mine is more likely than not to not have all the required ingredients of fire support and infantry. So if I can keep him out of Bravo, that'd be great. If I can just put a CV in Golf and Bravo, that would be a very high tick, and I can win the battle. And this is why I put the Leopard here. The 185 is able to take up the transports as they're maneuvering, making sure that he is not able to get any vehicles into position there, and thus any infantry. And here I have a push in Foxtrot. He has, however, given me ample opportunity to defend against that push. If I had everything ready, that'd be great. I don't. I got the 105 over there, which is engaging the 103 Deltas. I'm trying to call in the F100 to deal with the recon infantry. And then I notice a couple of STRV 121s. He is really going heavy on this push. There, that's one of his aircraft down. This MLU goes after him again, fires off all the MRAMs. Unfortunately, missing all the missiles. And the Viggen is able to get out. Fortunately, the MLU does not take critical damage, but the F100 is down. I'd rather take down the F100 than the MLU. And over here, I'm just, well, I'm not doing much of anything. I just tried to chill and buy an MLRS in case I need it. Spider bravely try to engage the STRV 103s with an M72. Yeah. I should have had the recon infantry turned off, but no. And this is where Fennec engages the STRVs, trying to get some damage in on them, and you can see he's just not doing anything with them. So, clumsy play on both sides, but I think I recovered faster from my clumsy start. And as I'm trying to take out more of his vehicles, I'm trying to get the hardest hitters out of it, such as the STRV 121s. And the 103s are just sitting in the field, not doing anything. And yeah, there they go. Now they're moving forward again. The 121s are being pulled back, but the group composition for my team in Foxtrot is terrible. It's Flieger Faust, it's Milans, which are not able to fire because they're either out of missiles or out of position. And even if they would fire, they're very, very close to the enemy, so they immediately get killed off. Nevertheless, with this many points in the bag, I'm able to pretty much call it quits here. Because there is not much that he can do, and I think he is starting to notice. That's probably why that offensive in Foxtrot happened. There goes another aircraft. MLU being ordered to leave the sector. Even though there is still an STRV, and decided to just basically walk away from this sector because I couldn't keep it. I just had no short-range, high-end anti-vehicle infantry. And because of that, I'm basically forced to give up the sector. But, more importantly, I win the battle. So, clumsy on both sides, but I think I recovered a little faster. And as it turns out, he is a bit of a newer player. Or so I thought, but he has actually played quite a few ranked games. Now overall, on this map, I'll probably not start again with a push with a couple of 2A4s. I think that I either need to change my strategy there, or that the 2A4s are just simply not the right tools to use in that open area. Yes, you have the 2-4s, you can split, but unless you have a lot of smoke, the chance of getting sniped by an ATGM plane are serious. Still, interesting match. Clumsy. I was able to recover a bit faster than he did. And I think that he just kept buying aircraft. And you can see just how deadly that lack of ground forces is. Even though the ground forces that he did have did give me a bit of a problem, especially at the start of the match. Anyway, I hope that you thought this match was interesting. Let me know what your thoughts are down below, and I shall see you soon for more Wargame.